Gee, thanks.
Jazz
Ta-da!
hands.
That is now
Jazz
our
hands.
intro, as opposed to meows. It's jazz hand intro.
Jazz
Um,
pause.
jazz
Are-
pause. Yeah.
You are a dumb baby. Oh my god.
Issues. So-
Shima, she's just like laying on the chair next to me and stuff, and she just rolls over and she falls off.
Oh yeah, we have
Plop.
actual cat today. I mean, not that Andrea doesn't count as actual cat, but small quadrupedal furry cat as opposed to Andrea cat.
yeah. And Andrea is currently on mute. I think still. Yeah. Um. Alrighty. So when last we left off our lovely story we have here, we were introduced to our party of, I hesitate to say, unlikely heroes. They're the
Misfits.
very least they're the very least adventurers, and they include the likes of Maple, the chaotic hungry Floran hunter, Zoe, the chaotic stabby human assassin,
Hi.
Felix, the curious but very done with this party, high elf mage, or scholar, either way,
Mm-hmm.
and Tora, the wonderful and playful and handy catfolk bard. Yes, puns, because I had to, because Smarty.
So
Anyway,
many so many Bigby's hands.
Yes.
yes. Which I don't know if it was answered earlier. I think it was missed, but I was curious as to what color Tora's magic was, because on the one hand, Bigby's hand is sometimes images to be blue or purple.
Is a
Rainbow.
rainbow.
Yes.
There's
And
quite a
then,
lot of
Way.
red to it, though.
well, yes, the bubble for Maple right now is of course very red because blood. But yes, um,
Red bubble. oh, oh, she could start selling T-shirts.
sure. Um, so, uh, the party was given their first mission among the Shattered Blades Guild, and this mission consisted of escorting a gnome tailor known as Merrick Heartfire through the Whispering Woods to the nearby town of Asalia, with the intent that he was going to go to his bigger franchise that is over there. Along the way, they come across a small group of kame, or turtle people, one of which Felix knew because it was from his background in his scholar university. I can't remember what name Dally gave it.
Dally also cannot remember off the top of her head what name Dally gave it.
It's on
Dally?
your character sheet, technically.
Yeah, it's on my character sheet. The Timus Salvia University.
Yes, that.
Well, I can sit there and tell you we have yet to complete the quest.
Yes, of course.
We got diverted.
Along the way, after encountering said kame, there was a sudden storm leading the group to take refuge inside of a cave. First a small cave, and then later a larger cave that was blocked by kame, because Felix is curious. And then, upon talking to the kame, you realize that there is some sort of a cult of the Bloodstone, and a woman by the name of Ava who doesn't seem to care about these kame that she is put in servitude. Upon exploring a little further, you find a portal in the back of the cave. Zoe goes and grabs Merrick to pull him along to go into the portal with them, much to his chagrin. And upon traveling through said portal, you arrive in a kame village with a large mansion, castle, house up at the top of a nearby hill nearby. And you explore the town, Maple going off to eat a cow, much to Felix's chagrin.
It was someone else's cow.
And it was
Yes,
still alive. Well, until she found it.
Yes.
That cow was not for
Um,
eating.
this led to Tora using his magic to trap Maple inside of a bubble, which also included the rest of the cow carcass at the time, creating what is known as the blood bubble that Maple is now in.
Because of rolling around like a hamster ball in it and smearing the blood all over the place.
Yep.
It was not the best of decisions.
For who, Tora or Maple?
To everyone except Mabel.
Yes. Zoe, with a little bit of a guide or suggestion from Felix, Zoe explores the village and finds that Ava doesn't care about the kame that live in this village, and she finds a small little gnome boy that, upon speaking to Merrick later, is believed that is perhaps the child of Merrick and this Ava person from before. And the group then decides to confront Ava at her castle, seemingly head on, as they're just marching straight up there. Save
No,
for
not
Zoe.
head on. Yeah, I'm sneaky.
Save for Zoe, of course, who is sneaking. And the story ended due to technical difficulties when my phone decided to die as the group was approaching the guards in front of the door. And we are currently going on an honor-based system because rolls is not working for some reason.
More technical
Which is-
difficulties.
Yes, more technical difficulties. I can only hope my phone doesn't die this time. I'm going to try to be more conscious of the power. Because apparently Skype calls drain my battery. I don't know why.
Well, yeah.
So, as I recall previously, and due to it being on my phone, I'm going to be less likely to see messages from Andrea as a heads up, because my phone doesn't inform me that I get a message in the Skype thing.
I shall try and keep an eye on that.
Yes. I do apologize for that. Technical difficulties away. Anywho.
Super professional stream.
Again, I have to ask Dally, can you do that kind of thing on command? That like mini voice break?
Yeah. That's how I
That's great.
say stream now. Just, like, completely off key.
Yep. Sounds about right. If I recall from the end of the last stream before my phone decided to die, Andrea had rolled a 3 to distract the guards with her, or not. I don't think it was to distract. It was to like.
We're bluffing them.
Yeah, you were basically bluffing the guards to try to get into the castle proper, and she had rolled a 3. Meanwhile, Zoe had snuck off to the side,
And I'm
and
trying
I
to find a
believe,
window to crawl through.
yeah, as my phone had died because I watched the video, Zoe had asked if there was a window or some such that she could crawl through to allow for her to just sneak in while the guards were distracted. And in answering to that, yes, there is in fact a window. It appears to, because we're starting this, the opening credits roll, and then we start with seeing Zoe nearby a window, having sort of left the group to the side as they're still distracting the guards, or still talking to the guards anyway. And how are you going to make your way into this window? It's still technically sneaking regardless of which option you take, but it's just for flavor. Is Zoe the type that is going to use like rogue thievish tools to pick lock the window, or is she just going to like blunt end hit it with her knife and bust it?
Why bust the window? That would make my presence obvious. No, I'm going to be sneaky and try to, like, slide it up as quietly as I can so I can sneak in.
Yeah, fair enough.
Wait,
It still would take
if I look in the window, do I see anything first before I do anything?
fair. Looking through the window, you find that the window leads to a what appears to be a like a living room or a den or whatever phrasing you want to call it.
One
And
of the
you
many
see,
living rooms with the mansion.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. You see off to the side, though you're seeing like the far end of it, so you can't really see everything in it, but you see what effectively looks like a trophy case. There's like a glass cabinet with a bunch of what appear to be artifacts on the inside. Aside from that, it just looks like an empty due to the angle of you looking in. It just looks like an empty living room aside from the furniture and the glass case.
Okay, well, I'm going to, like, you know, stealthily, like, open the window, climb in, and then right behind me, close the window again.
Yeah. Do you like investigate the window from various different angles to see what's inside, or do you just go from one straight?
Yeah.
Like you're being you're not that you're going to use this approach in this particular instance because you're being sneaky what you're doing, but you are being careful and aware of your surroundings.
Yep.
Because this is your wheelhouse. You're an assassin. You're a rogue. This is the kind of thing you trained yourself to do.
Yes.
So yeah, you do see, though you see just the edge of the individual because of the angle, but you do see that there is a kame, what appears to be a kame maid due to outfit, that is inside the den, but her shell is to the window. So as long as you're
Okay.
quiet, she's not going to hear you.
Yes, I'm going to try to be quiet and get in either way.
All right. Go ahead and make the first roll of the honor system for your sneaky with your little app.
Okay. 1.
1. Lovely. Even with your bonus of 3, good job.
Yeah. 3 minus 1s.
Are you sure you or 2 minus 1s?
No, it's 3 minus 1s, and I had a normal +1.
Okay. I rolled for the kame maid, who is not necessarily really paying attention because she's not expecting anything. So, her total ended up being 0. So, she doesn't really hear you come in, and you effectively just sort of snuck behind her. And you see now that the reason she was sort of off frame from the window is she's effectively dusting all the artifacts in the trophy case. Looking around the room, though, you see someone who you could not see due to the angle and location of the window, though he hasn't noticed you either, because he is paying attention. He is paying attention to what he is doing, which is Mince, the little gnome from before. He's in the corner, in the floor, on his stomach, with his feet popped up behind him like a teenager, and he is drawing while laying in the floor. But he hasn't noticed you either. So
Okay.
it's just yeah. This is why I made sure you were careful.
Yes. Suspicions are getting a little bit higher now.
You're presented with, I think, due to the kind of character that Joe is, you're presented with 3 potential options. You can either sort of indicate to sort of turn back and climb out and then indicate to your party just in case the bit with the guards didn't work and have everybody try to sneak in the way you got in, or you could explore more of the house, sneaking past these two that are in here, or you could perhaps do something involving Mintz. If you think he is as important to Merrick and perhaps Ava as he is, you could perhaps use him in that regard. If you're wanting to speak to Ava, of course.
Right.
I'm just thinking. Or you
Ah.
could just wait and see what your group does.
I'm gonna do something, and then I was gonna say let's like to give an idea, then switch over to them, see how well they do with the guards. But
Right.
I was going to go over to Mintz
Mm-hmm.
and like do a quick gesture of like holding a finger to my lips and covering his mouth.
Okay.
Okay, well, what does he do?
When you moved closer, he started to react and then saw essentially your garb, your outfit, your appearance, and he gets a somewhat curious expression. Then he notices the window. Did you close the window back?
Yes.
Okay. So he looks about, tries to figure out where you came from, looks towards the window thinking maybe that way, but it's still closed, so perhaps you were smart enough to close it. But he doesn't say anything. He follows your gesture of, stay quiet. And he sort of eyes the kame maid who is still off to the side.
I'm going to whisper to him to go to the front door and let my group in. Just quietly to him.
Interesting. Okay. So we'll sort of cut from that to the rest of the party at the front door. And speaking to the commie guards with Tora presenting this rousing tale, and I don't remember all that was said, but I think Felix was dubbed to be a prince or something.
Felix is uncertain about this.
Yeah. The guards are too. They just sort of look at each other and they're wondering like, what is up with this? And they're not used to having visitors of any sort, let alone ones that could very well easily be an adventuring party. They are very weary of the red ball of whatever the heck it is.
Just the red ball.
If nothing less, unleash the plant on them.
If nothing works, pop the bubble.
Uh-huh. And so they turn back to Felix and Tora, the only ones that they can effectively see, because Merrick is still hiding behind said bubble. And I think the direction you were taking was you had information about the Bloodstone, I believe, right?
That's correct, yes.
All right. So they look to each other and sort of talk to themselves in whispers, though you can still slightly hear because of your location. Well, if Ava's curious about all that the Bloodstone's capable of, I guess someone else who knows something might be beneficial, but we don't really want to bother her while she's in the middle of... And at that point, there is a soft, like a soft clatter, and the door from the inside opens, and the group is presented with Mintz, little gnome boy that looks about roughly, what did I say, 12, I believe.
Yeah.
So he is, being a gnome and being young, he is super tiny. And he opens up the door. Where is Zoe? Where did she go?
She's like sneaking like along with him, but tries to keep outside from the maid.
Mm-hmm.
But on the
he-
end, when he like opens the door, she's like behind the door.
Yeah. And the guards turn to Mince and they. Why did you came home and now you're leaving again? What are you doing, Mince? Well, um, he sort of looks off to the side to the shadows where he thinks Zoe might have disappeared to. I was going to let these people in. They seemed different. I think Mama would want to meet them. So, and the guards sort of like, okay, and well, as luck would have it, y'all are inside now, including the blood ball.
Including the ball.
Thank you very much, young man.
Mm-hmm.
Once like everyone is like inside, I'm just gonna close the door.
The group now, with Mince included, is now in what is essentially a foyer, like a entry hall. And you see the like doorways off to the side that led to the den that Zoe and Mince had came out of, and doorways in the back leading to like a kitchen, stairwells to the upper floors, and it's this big sort of grandiose entryway. And you have little Mince that looks to Zoe and then looks to the rest of the group.
Though, sorry, just to interrupt real quick. A hand goes into the high five position to high five Zoe, says Andrea.
Mince sort of tilts his head at the magic hand that did the high five and sort of looks between all of you, and I've never seen so many different people all in one place at the same time. Are y'all friends or adventurers or?
Yes, adventurers.
Adventurers. We had been hoping to investigate this area. We wanted to make sure the kame here were safe, basically.
Mm-hmm. They're safe, happy. I think. They don't really tell me all the stuff that goes on in town, but I kind of hear things, and I try to talk Mama into helping, and it doesn't always work. And
Well,
then at this point,
we convince her.
At this point, Merrick sort of tilts his head out from behind the blood bubble that is Tora, or Maple rather, and he walks up to Mince.
Oh,
and
the hand pats the gnome child.
See, Merrick, I told you.
He sort of looks over Mince, and there's that recognition of, you see, and especially somebody like Felix, who, being a scholar, would know what sort of features to look for that are not just strictly features of a gnome, but you start to realize where Zoe was coming from with the potential that these two are related. Subtle matching of facial features, and like the eye color is the same, the eye placement is the same. It's very likely that Zoe is correct, especially now seeing the two of them side by side. Mince just sort of looks over Merrick. The two of them just they share this moment of realization, and then there's this adorable little moment where Merrick hugs him.
Oh.
Okay, can we put family business aside until like after we get this done?
Mince looks to Zoe and what is it that you are going to do then?
We would like to have a word with. Oh my gosh, out of character. Her name just blanked.
Ava. Ava is your mother, yes, Mince?
Mm-hmm.
Is there
Well,
anything you can tell us about her?
She wanted me to make sure I don't tell strangers everything, but he sort of looks to Merrick. I guess technically you're not all strangers? Question mark.
Felix just looks at Merrick slightly bemused.
Can I sit there and stealthily take the hat off of Merrick and put it on the kid?
Do it.
Sure. I would say the difficulty here is probably like a 2. So.
Do it.
Alright.
3!
Yep. So there's this moment where the two of them are looking at each other, and then suddenly Merrick's hat is on Mint.
Good.
And it's ever so slightly too big, so it like falls over his face.
Good.
It's sort of like the Robin Hood hat on the rabbit in Disney's Robin Hood, you know,
And Zoe's just sitting there trying not to laugh too loudly.
The hand puts the hat back where it goes.
Aww.
Then Mint is... She likes magical artifacts and magical things. She collects them. Then he looks to Zoe and says, "You saw the case before. That's the kind of stuff that she picked up. The Bloodstone is, I guess, her favorite. She always keeps it around her. It's like a necklace she wears around her neck. And she says that it gives her more power, but..." And then he sort of looks around as if there's somebody that would hear him that would be upset, which there's not.
I don't think that would be a good idea. Yeah.
He sort of looks at everyone, and then Ava, she says she's my mom, but she looks a lot different than what I would think my mom should look like, especially when he looks to Merrick again. And then Merrick gets a realization on his face, and he sort of turns to the group, when we encounter Ava, you'd probably be surprised to know that if my assumption is correct, she probably doesn't look like a gnome at this point. But...
Do you think the Bloodstone is affecting her?
No, it's not what changed her into not a gnome. That was actually something that happened between the two of us before we split, but that was my fault, actually. But either way, if we were to speak to her, we need to be very careful about that. And at this point, the kame from before, kame maid, walks out, sees the group in the foyer, and ends up dropping the the duster or whatever she was using, which of course doesn't really clatter. Surprisingly, she wasn't holding anything to clichely drop and break. But she looks amongst everyone and then rushes to try to grab, and in an effort to seemingly protect Mince over these people that she does not know. How do you respond as a group to said maid?
Oh, hello. We're here to speak with Ava.
As the hand dusts the maid's face.
Oh, that's adorable.
So like the hand reaches down and picks up the duster and like in the maid's face, I guess.
I would assume so, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. She's here to see Miss Ava. Mince, honey, do you know these people? Mince shakes his head and looks
But this
pointedly.
is his... this gnome with us is father?
And then the maid sees Merrick, and then, of course, and then she looks over the rest of the group. You four look to be, well, four?
We're his
Question mark?
bodyguards.
3 in a bubble.
3 in a bubble.
Yes. Miss Ava's not going to like this, but it would probably be beneficial for her to at least meet you again, young Merrick, sir. And Merrick's like, what? And then she sort of...
Tora says, the bubble is for emergency circumstances.
Right. I'll lead you to Miss Ava. She's in a meeting at the moment, so you might have to wait a bit, but I can take you up that direction. And do you guys follow? I'm assuming you do.
Yep, and I'm hanging back to go back into sneaking again.
Mm-hmm. Roll your stealth again. Let's see how well you disappear.
2.
Okay. So you successfully disappear, but not in like a grandiose fashion.
No.
Your
no
app
poof
doesn't
smoke.
seem to like you very much. And everyone
It's not the app,
approaches.
it's the dice. The dice gods don't
Think
like me.
Right. You follow close behind Zoe, sort of half disappearing into the shadows, and you are presented with what is essentially upstairs and a little ways away, a council room of sorts, and you hear from the other side of the doorway, you hear a discussion going on, and it appears as if some of the kame, the local kame, are once again trying to get Ava to help with the various crops, and she is basically not having any of it, just at all. She doesn't seem to be very much responding. The only voice you hear is kame. You don't even hear a female voice, and the maid sort of shakes her head, and she's... I really wish that Miss Ava looks down at Mince, a better person to lead, but we're all bound to that bloodstone that's bound to her. So, and Do y'all wait until the crowd in the conference room stops, or does somebody try to sneak in or bust in, or they'll probably sneak in? What am I saying?
Yep, I'm sneaking in.
All right.
Testing my luck
We'll
here.
if you want to roll off of the two that you rolled before, you can, because there's not a whole lot that's different in this particular circumstance.
Okay.
Assuming you like sneak your way past the door, past everyone else. Anyone who wants to try to keep track of where Zoe disappears to can roll careful to see if they spot her. I don't know if anybody will.
Felix has given up keeping track of Zoe at this point. He does trust that she'll come back when it's dinner time or whatever.
Maple will probably have a hard time keeping track of Zoe because of all the blood in the ball, but
Maple's
Tora
just
is
wandering
going to try
around
to.
in the bubble.
It just like keep getting rolled back to the group.
It's just the occasional, just loud crash as she walks
That's
into
a tie
something.
with my stealth.
Oh,
Mhm.
Tora rolled a 2.
ah.
That's a tie with my
All right.
stealth.
So Tora has the option, if he so wishes, to try to do something to stop Zoe from sneaking in. Otherwise, he is the only one to see Zoe sneak in.
Okay.
He isn't.
now
He's
we
just
wait
wanting
on
to keep
Andrea.
tabs.
Yep, I figured as much. Sneaking in, Zoe, you are presented with the conference room, like 3 or 4 individual kame, and sitting at the far end of the table with a like crimson red amulet of sorts around her neck. Appears to be a sort of muscular to a point female dwarf.
Dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
A dwarf. Okay.
She is wearing around her neck a stone that is the color of blood. We should ask her if she's seen the Bloodstone.
I'll do that in a minute.
Okay.
Uh,
That wasn't in character. I just wanted to make that clear.
so it's gonna like kind of like hunker down so she's like not as so she like can't be seen or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and she's gonna like make her way over next to the dwarf.
All right. Give me just a moment. Let me roll some careful for the room. Let's see. Ooh, no, they don't notice you. That's for dang sure. You rolled a what? 2?
Yeah, but I like kind of crouched down so I'm like lower than the table.
Right. Okay. So
She's crouching. It means
Nah.
people can't see her. That's how it works, at least according to Skyrim.
yes. Crouching equals best stealth.
Unless I grab a can and hold it up in front of their face, then they can't see me.
Or you find a nearby box. That works too.
Oh yeah.
Or you find a pot and you put it over their head and then they can't see you. Again, I'm just going with what Skyrim has taught me.
I did not know that you could actually put a pot over other people's heads in Skyrim.
You can.
Okay then.
And then they can't see you. It's amazing.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'm like kind of crawling my way over.
Okay. Well, the 3 kame continue to discuss their woes, essentially. And the dwarf, there's a moment where it's very clear that she did actually spot you.
Oh shit.
And she she basically reaches out and she reaches out her hand, and almost in a similar vein to Tora's magic, but there's no visible shape of a hand. You're now pinned against the wall. And
Okay,
the
I'm gonna
other,
start like pounding my fist against the wall. Just be like,
or
help.
the invisible force that is holding you against the wall, I'm assuming.
Against. Well, I'm hitting the wall and stuff to like. Okay. I'm just like pounding the wall, just to be like,
At this
hey, there's
point,
trouble going on.
At this point, 2 more hands go to Zoe's aid.
What do they do exactly?
Grab the necklace. Is all I'm gonna say.
Depending on what Tora chooses to do, I'm rolling this off of a simple surprise round.
The hands are trying to peel her off the wall.
Oh god.
Okay. All right. So that is what Tora is currently doing. Zoe is pinned against the wall, and now we to jump away from the story aspect of it to go into mechanics. We have effectively dropped into a combat situation.
Oops. Sorry, guys.
And the way the combat situations work in Fate is there's no initiative roll. It's purely done off of your quick stat, which, when looking at everyone's stats for the group, everyone's quick is the same except for Zoe's. If I recall correctly. Yeah, Tora's quick is 2. Felix quick is 2. Maple's quick is 2. And then Zoe's quick is 1.
Yep.
And then Merrick's quick, I think, is like 1. If I recall correctly. Yeah, 1. Ava's quick is 2. And then the guard's quick is 0. Or the other kame's quick is 0. So the combat round is going to, I'm going to let more of the players go first. So seeing that this has turned into a combat situation, Felix, what you doing?
What up, yo? If this is combat,
Pull
is
the
Zoe
blood
still
pool
pinned?
into the room.
Wait, are we in the
Yes.
room?
If you guys were outside the door,
You're still technically outside, but you would have seen and heard the slam against the wall.
Yeah, well, I mean, Felix is
Right.
going in there as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Would that basically count as his action for this round?
No, you still have a chance to attack and do something, or speak, or say something.
Can
either
I
or.
tell the source of the invisible power holding Zoe against the wall?
That would be the dwarf at the end of the table.
And I can tell that just by looking?
Yep. She's got her arm outstretched. She's basically force choking.
I'm gonna try and blow her over with wind magic.
Okay. Also, I don't know if the specifics to how combat works was mentioned. I suppose we'll get more to that as we're going, because we're sort of on a somewhat of a time crunch because we started late. But you are doing this as an actual attack to try to knock her down.
He's threatening his, she's threatening his cohort, so yeah.
Alright. So using your wind magic and trying to quite literally trip her up, you can go ahead and roll clever.
Okay. Clever is...
Clever is the stat you use for magic.
So,
yep, 3.
I roll them all, and then I add plus...
By the way, Rolls Room is now working.
Oh, Rolls is working now? Well, gee.
Yep. I just happened to check it.
Ain't that convenient?
Well, I rolled a 2, and I have a +3, so 5.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Let me roll for her. E. Okay.
Because she wasn't expecting the wind magic, and so she was using forceful to defend, and she actually rolled a 0, which she is going to spend fate to bump up to a 2, and then take a what is it? There it is. A 3 stress box as opposed to a consequence, and she is going to be flung. And as dogs are barking, hooray! She is going to be flung successfully out of her chair. Hooray!
Hooray!
Am
I've
I
made
off of the
everything
wall?
worse. What?
At this point, we now give the turn to Maple if she. Actually, no, Maple's trapped in the bubble, so there's not a whole lot
Maple's
she
still
can.
in a bubble.
Just push the bubble in.
I mean, she
It's
probably,
unleashed.
when she heard the thump and the sound of fighting, she probably rolled towards the fighting, but she's still in a bubble.
Yeah. As
Like-
Ava falls, Tora, since Tora was helping to try to pull Zoe off the wall, Ava's magic breaks when she gets knocked to the side, and it's sort of that cartoon effect of Tora's pulling to pull, can't get free, pull, woo, and you're all.
Oh, and
Okay,
Tora
where do
has
I get
now
flinked to?
Tora has now released Maple.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Sweet.
So Tora's pulled free, or Zoe's pulled free. Tora has a chance to act along with releasing Maple, which would then give Maple a turn as well.
Am I like tossed somewhere because of like they were like pulling?
No, it's just the force that was you're still close to the wall because the force that was holding you back just like vanished. So since they were trying to pull the force away, they get flung to the side a little bit, but it's just the hand, so Tora's not affected.
Okay.
It just looks like that from the hand itself. I don't know if what's Tora's going to do here.
Tora says, "Can a hand grab the necklace?" Which is very clever.
Are you trying to do this sneakily, or are you trying to do this like clearly, like blatant? Is the hand going to float over in front of her and grab the necklace, or are you coming? Basically, are you using sneaky or are you using flashy?
Quickly as possible. Flashy.
Yeah, she says quickly as possible and flashy.
All right. So Tora can roll plus flashy to try to attack Ava to pull the necklace away.
6.
6. Wow.
Ooh. Holy crap. Okay. You said you rolled a 6? That was a...
Wow.
With rolling a 6, which was solid hit,
Ava is going to take a severe consequence as opposed to because she rolled to defend and got a 0. So she basically tries to dodge to get out of the way, but the hand moves quicker than she does, and necklace and now this I'm going to go into more specifics of how combat works because Maple's going to get a chance to hit first, and then Ava's going to do something herself. Basically, the way a combat round works, you have 4 options of things that you can do in your combat round. You can choose to upfront attack, which is what y'all are doing so far. And at that point, you're going to use an approach attack, and your opponent is going to defend. If the opponent defends and gets more than you do, then nothing results in the attack. But if the attacker gets more than the defender, the resulting difference of your totals turns into damage or stress. Everyone at the bottom of the character sheet has 8 stress boxes labeled 1 through 4 physical, mental, and everyone has 4 consequence boxes that are 2 mild, 1 1 severe, and 1 moderate. And each of these boxes have numbers beside them, being 1 through 4 on the stress boxes, and 2 for the mild, 4 for the moderate, and 6 for the severe. Whenever someone takes damage, they can choose to take it as stress or as a consequence, and they have to take a point value that's equal to the damage that they were dealt. Hence why she used fate points to drop the damage that Felix did to 3 and took it as a 3 stress box, and then the 6 that she got hit from Tora, she turned into a 6 severe consequence. The difference between the two is if all your stress boxes fill, whether they're all the physical or all the mental, one or the other, you're out of the fight. You're not necessarily dead. You're usually knocked out or scared or something of the sort. Consequences don't necessarily pull you out of the fight, but consequences do things that they basically create aspects that your opponent can use against you, or your opponent's team can use against you. Now, as such, you guys, if you roll and want to bump up the roll as like a bonus, like you're spending an aspect, you can now spend an aspect of Ava doesn't have the Bloodstone, and you can come up with a way of how that could potentially affect your attack. Either perhaps she loses her confidence, maybe, or something of the sort to give you an edge when you're choosing to fight her, or do something else. The other 3 actions that you can do also effectively create aspects, save for one, which is aiding a friend. If you choose to aid a friend, you don't spend your turn really doing anything specific, and instead give your ally, one of your allies, a +1 to the next thing that they try to do. Just a +1. The other 2 actions are creating aspects. That's normally an environmental thing, which then becomes something that somebody can use, your party can use. And discovering aspects, which is analyzing your opponent to see if you can figure out something about them that you could then use against them. We probably won't get into all the specifics of that in this small little game, but I wanted to put that out there, assuming everybody followed and I didn't just ramble on and confuse everyone. Everyone follow that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Dally, you good as well?
Ish. Combat's
Or
always
like
kind of
that?
difficult for me, so just keep me straight if I start doing something wrong.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
When your turn comes back around, I'll give you the options of things that you could do, considering that Felix isn't necessarily the type that's always going to be up front and attack, especially now that Ava doesn't have her Bloodstone
Okay.
clearly at the moment.
Yeah, he might try talking to her.
So now, Maple, you have an option of something you can do. It's your turn. You're out of the bubble. You've been released. You've been released from the blood bubble. Still probably covered in blood yourself.
Yeah,
And
that's actually what I was going to do, is just make an advantage of terrifying presence.
So you're going to create.
Essentially, this red ball has just rolled into the room and then burst, which has probably sent the blood inside it just into like a pool on the floor, and then there's just Maple completely soaked in blood.
All right.
And just holding her spear, and she's like, "Oh, are we fighting now?" Okay.
Well, if you wanted to go with the frightening presence, I would assume she's sort of baring her teeth that are absolutely terrifying.
Oh yeah, no, it's just like the bubble itself was just kind of like, what is this? And then it pops, and then there's just a completely blood-stained and soaked from like foliage to toe Flora, just holding her spear and hissing.
All right. So let's see here. Oddly enough,
You're sort of making an entrance. This is you're trying to create an aspect via flashy. So roll. Go ahead and roll 2d6 plus flashy.
Oh boy. Alright,
Are people in the rolls room now? I see that Knives is.
No, I will do that now. Hold on.
Nope. Rolls just failed on me again.
Oh, well,
Yep.
of course it did.
Of course it did.
Okay.
Alright, well, I'll just use this one then.
I'll just go back to my little app over here.
2.
They're probably doing maintenance on it or something.
Probably.
And that is. Hang on. Oh dear. That is a -3.
Yep.
Okay, so that's actually, if that's a 1, that's a. No,
-2.
Yeah, that's a -2.
If your total that you rolled is a -3, then your +1 would give you -2. All right.
Yeah,
So-
that's -2.
I have the exact premise for this. They don't. You were trying to create, this frightening entity image to sort of scare potentially Ava and/or the guards.
The bubble
And-
pops and she's facing the wrong way.
No, I was actually picturing the bubble pops, splashes blood like almost everywhere, and gets into most of the kame guards or all of the kame guards' eyes, so they can't see the display of the creature that did it. So instead of making them scared, it just makes them mad.
Well, that's even better. For Maple,
Um,
anyway.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty solid for something for you to do for your turn. We now move to I think Tora's turn is going to be mostly focused on getting Zoe free, or actually, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give Tora a turn. Dora, you can do something if you. Oh wait, you grabbed the Bloodstone.
Yeah, and I thought I was already free.
Yeah, you're free. So I'm just trying to keep track of everything, and my brain wasn't wanting to work there for a second. So yeah, it's Ava's turn, and then it'll be Zoe's.
Okay.
Ava is going to. She's basically going to grab at what was the necklace and realize it has been basically pulled away from her. And she is going to hold up her hand. She's still sort of on the ground away from the group. She's going to hold up her hand in the direction of the kame that are in the room. And she's going to use it to create essentially an aspect for herself. And she is going to go with her clever. That is a success because it was at least 0. And she effectively creates an aspect for herself dubbed protection. She pulls using telekinesis magic and pulls one of the kame guards to in front of her, allowing, basically using him as a shield, just in case anybody charges, specifically the Florin that just appeared. Because she's sort of predicting a frontal assault from at least a Florin anyway. And then it goes to Zoe.
I'm going to go and roll under the table to try to get back my sneaky.
Okay. Trying to basically disappear again.
3.
All right. Yep. You're effectively stealthed and hidden under the table. The chaos of what's going on around them sort of makes it hard for anyone to really paying attention to where you're going. You could come out and attack if you really wanted to. It could just be like
while I was under the table, I was going to sit there and take off my which hand is it?
Left, I think.
Left hand. Yeah. Take the glove off my left hand, so that's a green glow is coming from that.
Right,
and
you're prepped.
I was going to try to yeah, I was going to sneak actually behind Ava. That's what I was going to do.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that, and you're sort of prepping for your
A stunt of mine.
Your stunt. So anyone in the room except for the Kame and Ava, who's keeping an eye on Zoe, sees her sort of come from the shadows up above or up behind where Ava is, and sees that her left hand is now glowing, and that would be her turn currently. Merrick is going to basically he's actually going to keep to outside, away from Ava. In all the commotion, he's along with the maid, trying to make sure that Mince doesn't either see or go into the room. Just in case this starts to get sort of bad and very gnarly or anything like that. Neither he nor the maid really want Mince to see it. So that's where his focus is. The guards are all going to, save for the one that, there's 3 of them, save for the one that was pulled in front of Ava, who is currently stuck there. The other 2 are going to charge Maple. They are mad. You don't have a whole lot to defend with because they rolled crap. I think this dice roller hates all of us. You can choose to defend, I would assume probably forceful.
Mm-hmm.
So they charge in your direction, and you can go ahead and roll plus your forceful to defend from them charging you.
3.
Yeah, you're good. They rolled a 1. So the 2 of them charge, and Mabel sort of takes their charge and is, I suppose, surprisingly strong for a plant that is smaller than these heavy turtle people.
It's very strong.
Yep. And she just sort of grins and growls, I'm assuming. Probably. No, she doesn't growl. She hisses.
She hisses.
Yeah. And the Kame are completely dumbfounded that this itty-bitty Florin is clearly stronger than they are together. But yeah, that's their turn. We'll bounce it back around to Felix.
Oh shit, what up? Okay, how is everyone looking? Is Zoe is freed from her restraint, right?
Yes,
Yep,
and I'm
and
behind Ava with the glowing hand.
Good.
Yep.
And the stone got taken off her neck, yes?
Yes. It is currently being held in one of Tora's hands.
Okay, am I able to use one of my aspects in combat?
If you make a roll to do something, and just like you would to do anything else outside of combat, what
Okay.
aspect are you thinking?
I was thinking the pen is mightier than the sword. Felix is going to try and talk his way out of this.
Is that a stunt or is that an aspect?
It's an aspect.
Okay.
I don't
So yeah, you
believe...
can...
No, I don't believe he has... No, he doesn't have anything for talking as one of his stunts.
Okay. So you're basically going to try to talk her down.
Basically, yeah. He's going to sort of hold up his hands and go, whoa, 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 we just want to talk to you. I only attacked you because you had my friend in peril.
And your friend is clearly an assassin of some sort, or couldn't you tell?
Yes, but she, to be fair, was not coming here to assassinate you. We need to talk to you about the kame.
I see. That is what you... And she sort of looks about this now group of people as if she's not entirely sure about this. She's not going to be very trusting considering all that went down just now. You can roll clever, Felix.
Okay, so I've rolled and it's a 0, and then if I add my clever... I keep forgetting what my clever... Oh, my clever's my best one, so I get a 3.
Yep. Ava. Going to roll with her careful. Okay. And she got a 4. If you wish to spend a point using your aspect, you can bump it up to a 5.
I would like to do that, yes.
That uses one of your fate points.
Yeah,
and
that takes me down to 1 fate point, unless we got them refreshed at the start of this session.
Nope.
Yeah, it takes me down to 1 fate point.
And then she looks between you, and then she's... Stop. Just stop. And she, like, dismissively throws her hand, which inadvertently slings the kame that was in front of her against a wall. And she turns to the floating hand that is holding the Bloodstone, and she's... If you want to talk, can I have that back, please?
Felix looks uncertainly at the others. I suppose...
Zoe's just shaking her head.
Maple is busy fighting.
Yeah. Then this spins to, appropriately, Tora's turn. What's Tora going to do? He has the Bloodstone in his magic hands, so...
Tora is putting it in a bubble behind his back.
Okay. So, effectively answering her question with a no.
That's a no.
All right.
No.
Listen, we are not sure about what that stone can do. You seem to have a lot of power at your disposal, and we are slightly hesitant about it. It's not that we want to take it from you, it's that we want to know its nature and that it's not going to be dangerous to you or people around you. We're adventurers, we know what we're doing. He says with complete conviction.
Right, of course. All right.
Is Tora going to do anything specific with his turn besides hide the Bloodstone behind him?
The few hands that are out already mass into one giant hand. Oh no.
Say that again. What?
The few hands that
The
are...
hands make a giant hand.
Yeah, they make one giant hand.
And then that giant hand gives you the giant finger.
Well, it doesn't actually, but...
It doesn't, no. But...
So Tora just like amasses all his hands into one, as well as hides the Bloodstone behind him, and I'm assuming probably gets into some sort of defensive stance, or maybe the massive hand forms a fist to imply that he's not backing down.
Or possibly just at the ready to, flick someone if necessary.
Yep. We will move the turn to, since she's not really paying attention to anything around her anyway. What is Maple going to do precisely?
If no one's informed Maple that they've stopped fighting, she's just going to grab one of the kame and throw it at her.
Can we inform it? I thought she might have noticed, but if she hasn't noticed,
Nope.
Can we inform her?
If fighting starts,
Yes.
Maple doesn't pay attention to anything except the fight.
Yeah,
unless you
Maple,
actually
we stopped.
shout at her.
Stand down! Florence, stand down!
So you're going
Bubble
to
the
like
Florin again.
you're going to grab the
Like,
one of the
what-
kame.
One of the kame that's attacking her, she's just going to she probably just pushed them away as they were attacking her. And she's just like in mid-grab. It's like she's got her hands on one of the kame and is holding it above her head. And she's like, oh, are we stopping fighting?
Yes, we're going to try and talk.
Okay, it looks like the Florin is now in a bubble with the...
Tora has re-bubbled Maple.
It's like
With the
the only
kame too,
the only thing she just there's a very disappointed hissing sound before she gets bubbled.
It's like, it's okay, we're putting the Florin away.
With the kame, I'm assuming.
What?
With the
you
kame.
holding.
Yeah, with the kame.
That
Oh, no.
kame is probably not going to come back out.
Oh dear.
If it looks like
Um,
Maple is going to critically injure / kill the Kame, Felix is going to ask for Tora to remove the Kame from the bubble, and thus the threat of danger.
Yes. All right. That is both Maple and Tora. Ava is going to sort of look through all this.
No, there
If
are
If
two.
you're wishing to, if
You
you're
just-
wishing to not fight, you're making a horrible show of it.
It's just a very disappointed hissing sound before she gets bubbled, where she just drops the kame. She doesn't put him down, she just drops him.
The bubble does a mitosis thing, and now there are 2 bubbles.
Gotcha. So Ava, as the bubbles sort of split into 2,
I assume the kame is in the other bubble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not in the same bubble as you. Do not eat
Then-
the Kame.
So the mitosis with the bubble happens, and Ava sort of looks to the group. If you're wishing to not fight, your allies are making a horrible show of it.
She's just now sitting on the ground in the bubble, looking very grumpy.
We
And
are
she's-
still learning to work together as a group. We are not the best coordinated, and Zoe was in trouble, so we kind of just... He just gestures. And keeps gesturing. He seems to have lost words.
So it's just like behind Ava, just like really amused about what's going on.
Hands still glowing.
It's still
Um,
glowing. She can't turn
Ava
that
is
glow off.
So, should we
Ava.
stand down maybe so we can talk and not die?
No, I'm good where
Uh,
I'm at. And just like kind of tap Ava on the shoulder with one of her stilettos.
Silverclaw said I was meant to be the leader.
Yes,
Ava.
that's fine. I'm listening. I'm not attacking, but I would like to stay where I'm at.
I think that's the best we're
Ava.
going to get from her.
Yep.
Ava
With
looks
just like a
behind her
smile.
to. Ava looks behind her to the smiling Zoe, and goes, "I have one," and then turns back to Felix. "I have one question.
Only one?
Is it true?" Well, many questions, but most of them are not for you. Is it
Alright.
true? I found I received word that a band matching this description was traveling with Merrick. Is this true?
Oh, he's in a cave.
He came with you, remember?
Shh.
Or is
She's
Zoe lying?
Lying.
She's
Uh-huh.
in a
lying
cave.
through her teeth. Her pointy teeth. We were to escort him through the Whispering Woods until we got sidetracked by this, situation.
Is he here
That
with
that
you?
that rather, I mean, we can, I mean, we can tell you where he is if you want to see him, but we need some assurance that you don't mean him any harm. From what we hear, he didn't leave a person named Ava on particularly good terms.
I should say not.
May I ask what happened?
This may drain me, but if it works, it'll all be worth it. And she holds up one of her hand, and she is going to make use of one of her own stunts that you guys do not know exactly what it is. It's much like not Tora, Zoe's stun. It's a once per session type thing. She holds her hand up and just makes like a grab gesture, like she's grabbing the air. And from outside, near where the maid, Merrick, and Minch were, those who are paying attention, which would probably be everyone but Maple, hear a cry that sounds decidedly like Merrick, and then Merrick appears on top of the table from the portal.
Oh my.
And there he is. Your turn, Zoe.
Yeah, I'm just pressing the stiletto closer to her neck.
She's not even responding. She's staring Merrick down. Your stiletto bit is not even threatening her at all.
Okay.
And Merrick is completely dumbfounded by all this. And he quickly gets off the table and tries to go into a corner to try to get as far away from where Ava is as possible. And it's clear
to
from
have a marriage counseling or something.
Is that in character?
Yes.
Huh. Of course it is. I don't think it would matter much now, says Ava.
Well, maybe you can work it out.
Felix raises a hand tentatively. I know we're sort of interlopers in all this, but don't you think possibly your son might deserve to know what happened?
Yes, said Ava. Yes, he would. Are you willing to tell him, Merrick? Um, it's complicated. You know that. That's what I
Just
thought.
get it over with.
Merrick is unsure of what to do, and there is this like tense silence to the room. Let's see. I think I was rolling with the idea that careful was like the perception based skill. So anyone close to Tora, and by extension the Bloodstone in a bubble, which would probably be Tora and I would say Felix, probably, since both were sort of attacking from a non-range sort of perspective.
5.
Ooh, nice.
3.
Tora can roll.
3 pluses and a blank, and my careful score, which is 2. So yeah, 5.
Nice. Tora can roll careful as well.
Tora got a 2.
Okay, close enough. Both Tora and Felix catch on during this sort of tense silence. There is a sort of ripple in the magic that is the bubble that is holding the Bloodstone. And I don't know what color Tora's bubble. We said that Tora's bubbles were rainbow colored, I believe.
Or a different color every time, but
yeah, different color, rainbowy. At this particular point in time, the bubble that is holding the Bloodstone takes on a much more redder hue, and it's not Tora doing it.
Felix looks apprehensively at Ava. I think your stone is possibly getting angry. And Tora's going,
Yes, that is entirely correct and very possible. If you don't mind, I would like it back, unless you want this entire mansion to be destroyed.
Can I read to see if she's bluffing or telling the truth?
Sure. Roll clever.
Tora's like, ha 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 ha, no. So yeah, that would be another careful roll, wouldn't it? So my careful is 2. I have rolled a 0, so that's just 2.
She has a actually, a little thing for her. She rolled a total of 0. She is from the conviction in her voice. She is very adamant about wanting and getting the Bloodstone back. She seems to clearly know what the ripple is, and she knows a great deal what the Bloodstone, what it is. And this is from as best as Felix can tell, this isn't a bluff. This is something she genuinely believes to be a thing.
Felix kind of flaps a hand at Tora slightly and goes, I don't know if it's true or not, but she seems to believe that it really will happen. Do you think maybe we should err on the side of... Okay, there are arguments to be made.
I'm a backup plan.
What?
If anything happens, I'm a backup plan. And she's just sitting there waving her arms with like going hand and stiletto behind Ava.
Alright, so we give you back the stone, But if you try and use it to hurt or maim or kill anyone, we will hurt or maim or kill you back. Does that sound fair?
Actually, yes, it does. And I'm assuming Tora gives the stone back.
Tora reluctantly floats the bubble to Ava, which then surrounds her.
He just absorbs her. Aww.
Does Tora release it from the bubble to give to her, or just sort of spin it around her tauntingly-ish?
No, what I'm assuming is meant is that the bubble is now surrounding, yes, Ava is now in the bubble. The bubble is surrounding Ava and the stone.
Gotcha. All
Now
right.
we have 3 bubbles.
Yep. It's a
Alright.
regular Christmas tree up in here.
All right. Your magic is used with flashy, right, Tora? I believe.
Tora's magic
So-
certainly usually is.
If you would, Tora, roll for me your flashy for your magic.
See if it is strong enough to bubble the Ava. 5.
5. I rolled, and my total is ended up being a 3. Lovely. However, I'm going to spend fate to bump it up to a 5 and make it a tie. And upon surrounding Ava, I'm assuming based on how the bubbles were sort of are like described, that they are, usually just big enough to fit the creature that is in them, kind of thing. And as such, the bubble that includes both of them turns a dark crimson, and there is a very strong force that tries to push to shatter the bubble, but Tora is able to hold it back, if only barely. Is Tora aware of the, himself? Or basically, are the bubbles transparent? Or are the bubbles,
They must be
Hide on the
transparent.
I would assume, probably.
Translucent,
Translucent.
With the hue.
Translucent. All right. So you would all see this. There is a moment when Ava grabs to get at the Bloodstone, but she's not fast enough, and a shape, a very large form, basically emerges from the stone, not unkin of like a Pokeball, and it is much bigger, slams Ava to the back of the back edge of the bubble itself, and then there's this weird glow over Ava momentarily, and then her form is, it's not like she's absorbed, she's still there, but from the angle you guys can't see her anymore, and this very large form is now what's in the bubble more than Ava and the stone. And the stone appears to be gone. You're now holding what, for lack of a better term to put it, appears to be a demon of some sort.
Okay, thing the first, Tora has sort of dissipated the other bubbles so that he can focus on this one. Thing the second, Felix is like, oh no. Quick, let her out of the bubble. Just her, not that. I don't know if I can, says Tora.
With like 3 gritted teeth, I'm assuming. Alright.
Merrick, this is your ex something or other. Do you know anything about this monster?
Your your questions are mine at this point. I have no clue. And at
Wait,
this point,
is it a
there's
demon?
It looks like one, yeah.
Okay.
Has gone from being grumpy to excited at the prospect of she might actually get to stab something.
So it's just sitting there with her hand forward at the demon. Just like, yeah. Like,
Although
I did not sign up for this.
it might prove beneficial if Zoe was to, say what her glowing hand is capable of.
My
It might-
glowing hand is capable of doing a stunt called Pull of the Rift. It's a one-time use. It makes a small rift wherever I point it, and it draws enemy towards it. Depending on how tough they are, they can either get. It's a working mechanic that we're going through.
Right.
It's either going to insta-kill them or it's going to do hefty damage.
So what you're saying is,
Yeah.
remove the bubble, remove Ava from the vicinity of the demon, point Zoe at the demon.
I'm already pointing at the demon.
Point Zoe at the demon harder.
Kind of, yes. So.
Zoe pointing intensifies.
If Tora wants to go through with this, yeah, this is a potential option.
Yeah, if Tora can't let Ava out of the bubble, and Ava is kind of trapped in there with this thing, Felix says, "Oh Lord, drop the bubble. We can point our
Wait,
murdery friends at it."
Are we able to get Ava out of the bubble first? Or is she, like, part of this demon now?
No, she's not absorbed into it. So if Tora drops the bubble, and then
and falters a little.
Zoe points specifically to
I mean, can
try
it do the mitosis thing that it did earlier and move Ava out of the bubble?
What, to put to sort of try to grab and protect Ava with a bubble after releasing the
No,
demon
as in
thing?
the bubble split again, like it did
Oh.
with the kame and the Florian.
The thing was, Tora was saying that because of the nature of how strong the demon was resisting the bubble, the chances of him being able to do that with this particular bubble would be hard.
Yeah.
That was what. That's
okay.
what was Felix was about with the, protect Ava away from this thing.
Like, all Tora could focus on was keeping that bubble intact so that it restrained the demon. If he had tried to do anything else, like create a second bubble or split that bubble, it would have disrupted his concentration too much. Because this thing is trying really hard to get out.
Okay, well then can you just shift the bubble onto Ava, and then I guess I'll sit there and do my riff thing, see if it works.
It would technically, it could technically work that way, depending on how well Tora rolls flashy for his magic.
I mean, I suppose he could technically bubble Ava out of the way if she's unconscious. Is she unconscious?
Yeah, more or less. She's like aware and semi-conscious, but yeah.
She is like fainted in Pokemon terms.
Yeah. Tora can roll plus flashy to make use of his magic.
Yeah, after a moment a hand forms and moves her away.
And then I suppose Zoe makes use of her stunt very quickly against this demon thing.
You have to be like, be gone, demon!
What does your crazy rift shenanigan look like? The demon appears to be trying to hold his ground as soon as he is free, but because of the strength
it's a small like orb opens up, and it's like this green material things, and it's just like emanating and stuff, and it's like sucking like enemies towards it.
Right. And it's enemies that you designate sort of mentally, so
Yes.
in this particular instance, it would only pull the demon and nobody else.
Yep. So all my friends can walk finally past it and stuff and not get sucked in.
Well, I was also including into that the
Yes,
kame
Ava is
one.
fine, and Kame, they're
Yeah.
fine. They're just
So you successfully get Ava away, and you do your rift thing, and I rolled to resist from the for the demon to resist the rift, essentially, to sort of hold his ground, and his total was a 2.
okay.
I'm sort of debating how to run with the mechanic. If you're like very much trying to pull him into this thing, you could roll either forceful or flashy, whichever's higher, because it's not really a sneaking thing that you're doing.
Flashy is higher.
Yeah, flashy I think is +2.
No, flashy is just a +1.
All right.
Which I got a 2 on. Can I spend a point to make that higher?
Yes, you can.
Okay. How high does it go if I spend a point? It's at
It would-
2.
It add 2 and goes +2, or you could use the fate point to re-roll it entirely and potentially get even more.
No, I wanted to go higher to a. It's at a 2 now, so it'll go up to a 4.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that.
So, question.
Anyone want to aim?
Question.
Yes.
What exactly is, like, if you were to apply since this come from essentially from what was it, Dragon Age?
Yes.
What is the nature of this portal? Is it akin to like the arcane magic of a mage? Is it closer to something that's like demonic or infernal, like a warlock, or is it like
What it sounds like a magical black hole.
It kind of is. What it does, it sends them back to what I like to think of it is like in the game and stuff, there's a thing called the rift that opens up and stuff, and all these demons and shit start coming through the rift, but you have the power to close these rifts and stuff and damage the demons that are coming through.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
So basically I'm trying
for
to
sake
send
of-
it to another realm.
Yeah. So, for sake of simplicity, and because of the totals, and because I don't want to fight over fate points at this point, he is going to. I'm going to have it. Like it doesn't suck him away because he's far too big to be just sucked into the rift itself.
I can help.
But he is like heavily weakened. So even though there's not a damage context to it, I'm going to give him a severe consequence. So you have essentially dealt 6 consequence damage to him, and you have a bonus over sort of fighting this guy because he is very much weakened. And because it's a stunt and you're using all that to do it, I'll give it as a high end damage because it's a severe consequence. So basically, anyone now, we're going to go back into combat, and anyone could choose to get a bonus to their roll because this guy he's big and he's powerful, but he is very weakened at the moment. and
Yes.
it doesn't actually. For the
But
first
since
two,
I use the pull of the rift, I can't use my other stunt, which is called pincushion test.
well, you can use your other stunt, sure.
But the thing is, he knows I'm there.
True. It would be tricky for you to use, but perhaps some of your allies could give you a distraction.
Did somebody say distraction? Oh no, wait, actually Tora would probably be good for that.
And the Florin, let the Florin try to eat him.
Flora's just gonna shank him.
Andrea says, in all caps, distraction!
All right. So we're going to jump back into combat again, and essentially, most of the time when you use an aspect to do something, you have to spend fate points to do it. And the idea behind a severe consequence is the ally, the team that contained the person who dealt the damage, in this case the good guys, you guys, all of
Good.
you have 2 free uses of essentially the consequences. He's weakened, which could give you bonuses to trying to damage and hurt him. And it doesn't actually cost you fate point. Any of the 4 of you can use it. It gives you a +2 bonus, and you have 2 freebies, and then you can continue to use it if you spend fate points beyond that, if you really want to do. But that being said, we insert back into combat round, and even though, since everyone's quick is essentially the same, I'm going to play off and say, Maple ready for Shank. Maple can attack.
So is the portal still there, or did it just appear, do damage, and then fuck off?
It kind of faded away if it didn't pull it through.
I was just gonna fucking shoulder charge him into the portal, but that works.
Yeah,
That would be very tricky to do, considering he's so much bigger than you.
Yes.
We're talking a creature that's probably big enough to simply step on and crush the table in here. He's like just
Hunched
barely
over
taller.
and-
Maple doesn't care. That's even better.
Anyway,
She'd fight a dragon if she has to.
all right.
Don't actually make her fight a dragon. She won't win.
Maple going to stab.
Yes, she's just gonna jump up from. Well, I suppose she got up from her position on the floor where it looked like there was going to be a fight, and she's just gonna charge with her spear and just commence the stabbing.
So, I learned a thing, and I just remembered this from looking at the book temporarily. It doesn't actually cost fate points to use stunts.
Good, because I'm probably going to use one.
So that is something to point out. It doesn't actually cost fate points to use stunts. I think Tora at one point last session used a stunt, so he can get a fate point back. And then since Zoe just did use a stunt, don't bother dropping a fate point down for the use of your stunt either.
No, I use the stunt to make my roll higher.
Oh yeah, you use an aspect to make your roll higher. All right, fair enough. So, Maple is attacking with forceful.
Forceful, yes. And I'm going to use my stunt as well.
So you're getting a +5 to your roll.
Yep. Which is a 6.
So you and I just rolled for said dude. He, as you come in to attack, your spear essentially hits his. He basically has like a what's it called? It's like it has a weird name that starts with a C. It's like the shell that's on the back of the
Carapace.
the
The carapace.
that's it. That's the word. He has a very hard like shell, and since you're rushing him more from behind because he was facing Zoe, you strike at his armor and you can't pierce it. So you did not actually hurt him. Even though you rolled a 6, because his total was 7.
Okay. Can I throw the thing on it as well?
You could throw oh yeah. So yeah, you can spend one of the freebies on him being weakened and bump to him. One.
Just keep stabbing at the same point until it actually goes through.
All right, fair enough. It is now to Felix.
Hello. I have a quick question. Are the kame still on the run?
Yes.
Felix.
They are.
What are they doing?
Trying to vacate as best they can.
Good. Felix encourages them and says, "Get to safety and try and get yourself and the others to safety. Evacuate the castle or manor, wherever we are. Evacuate the building." What? What?
As you're saying this, one of the kame goes, "You don't have to tell us twice."
Take Mince with you, please.
Merrick, get your wife and leave.
Felix going to spend his turn to attack or anything.
I'd like to use a stunt.
Or
I've read about this. I'd like to figure out what the hell is this.
All right.
Can I roll to see if Felix knows what this is? And, how to make it not be a thing anymore.
Yep, you can totally do that.
Okay. So I will roll clever, which is +3, and my stunt gives me a +2, so I have a total of +5, and let's just see how badly I roll. Oh, sweet, I got a 3, so add 5 to that, I get an 8 in total.
Bloody hell.
Nice. Alright. So, I'm going to treat that as, sort of discovering an aspect.
I'm actually gonna, show you the screenshot of that. Look at that, that's glorious. Glorious
Right.
3. Anyway.
Yeah, no. So I'm going to sort of treat it as discovering an aspect. You, based on how Maple attacked and the way that the demon creature sort of resisted, you, and with your having read about this type thing, you realize this is a creature. The books and details wasn't exactly saying whether or not the name that's associated with this creature is the name of one of them specifically, or the name of a species.
Yeah. It's just he called Bob, or are they all called Bob? Nobody knows.
Right. But you know him. You know this kind of creature to be known as Barzur. Barzur. Barzur.
Barzur.
Yes. And he is, from what you can recall, he's actually associated with, in part, or at least according to the book that you read on it, he is a creature that's associated with the Whispering Woods from a millennia ago.
Oh, really?
and he was defeated by a rousing group of adventurers back when the Whispering Woods was, quote unquote, saved. And it wasn't necessarily depicted as to how he was defeated, but he was supposed to have been, and he clearly wasn't because he's right here. The aspect that you discover along going with this is his connection to the like the obvious connection to the Bloodstone, the Bloodstone in the past, and however he was defeated involved him being captured in said gemstone thing.
We need a Pokeball.
Kinda, yeah. And that's what you got for your turn. And I suppose Felix is. We need a Pokeball.
Yeah, can Felix just convey the bare bones of this? It's a Barzor. It needs to be recaptured in some kind of gem. Yeah, I'm guessing that's Felix's turn.
Yep, works for me. Tora, what you gonna do?
I'm just imagining Tora kind of forming a small bubble and going, "This is kind of like a Pokeball." Andrea says, "So, I suspect Andrea's thinking."
This actually kind of went a slightly different direction than I anticipated because of player shenanigans. Hooray!
You never know what the players are going to do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Never make plans because they won't happen.
Well,
especially not with a freaking
no
Florin.
plan survives contact with the player's enemy.
At least nobody's trying to hum Jeopardy.
Tora is going to distract him using... Oh man. Tora, what are you going to do? Does it involve multiple instruments and multiple Big B's hands? She's looking up an insult. Good.
Uh-huh. Yep. So you can go ahead and roll flashy and make use of your stunt to try to distract said person or said demon thing.
Wait a minute. It's a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't there a webcomic called Ava's Demon?
If there is, that's not intentional. But that's funny.
I'm looking at... Yes, there is! There is actually a webcomic called Ava's Demon. I love it. Hooray for unintentional coincidences.
Yes, indeed.
Smarty says, your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. Oh, what Tora actually says is, thou art essentially a natural coward without instinct. That's Shakespearean, isn't it?
I'm assuming, yeah.
So we just got to roll the flashy with the...
Flashy +5.
+5 for the stunt.
And you're creating an aspect for the room of he's...
Ooh, 7.
Yep.
Make him look away from me.
Yep. Okay. So he's distracted. And he is like this essentially since Tora did this with style because of the high roll. Next attacks have, just like the consequence of him being weakened, next attacks have an option for +2 for free to deal damage to him because he is distracted by the insult and the music and whatever else. And he is, of course, looking away from Zoe, that's whose turn it is currently.
He's looking away from me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
He's not turned away from you, but he's looking away from you.
I don't care. As long as he's not looking at me. So
Also, you're a rogue, so you're good at finding weak points anyway. So
Yep. Okay, so are we like standing next to the table?
more or less, yeah.
Okay, since I'm gonna count this as in we're kind of in trouble. Um, Zoe just gets this like bigger smile on her face as she like pulls out her other stiletto and she's gonna like jump up on the table and then jump on to like try to get on top of this demon to poke it as much as she can with a pincushion test.
Uh-huh.
Yay, let's go ride this demon around.
So I'm guessing this isn't
Are you-
actually in character, but it's too delicious not to share. Andrea has posted, "Thou rank hasty-witted wagtail."
Gotcha.
Kind of want that to be in character, actually. Anyway, as you are.
So, would you say this is trying? You're trying to sneakily jump on him while he's distracted, yeah?
Yes. It's just to get on top. And to hold on, I'm using the pincushion test to try to drive the stilettos into him.
All right.
I
So go ahead and roll your stealth attack +5.
+5. My pincushion test is a +2 on top of that.
It's +5 total because you're using sneak plus your pincushion test.
Okay. 5.
Yep. All right. So you have options, and depending,
Yay.
you could take this depending on if you guys want to just sort of be super epic, though not making much sense to the overall arcing of the story. You could just shank him with the he tied with you.
If
He
I
rolled,
see that as a tie, I just see it's like I'm just like hanging on him with these like 2 stilettos, just going wee.
the thing is, if you wanted to end the fight in this sort of epic-y sort of a way, you could spend, without costing you any fate, you could spend his second weakened tick, because you have one of those that you can use for free. He's distracted, which you could choose to use twice.
I mean, if you don't get to kill him, I definitely am, because I've just thought of a good way.
And basically you'd be pumping, if you spent them all, you'd be pumping 6 damage into him for free.
I don't know. What do you think, guys? Should I do it?
Well, I mean, if you want to. Either me or you are going to kill him.
Zoe
It's just
is
a matter of
insane,
if you
and
want
she's
to.
just hanging on this demon with like 2 little stilettos, just going wee.
If you want to kill him, you can. But if you don't, I am. So,
Okay, because I just have a thing. It's like if I kill him, I don't know. I have this image in my head of just like it falling backwards and just like kind of like pinning Zoe down to the ground. Like, ouch.
well, that would
Yeah,
just make
exactly.
it even better for me to kill him.
No, I don't care. So
See, here's the thing. You spend the points. He's got the severe consequence of him weakened. He can't use a 6-point consequence anymore. So he'd have to spend his points in stress, and he's already took damage once. It was a whole measly 1 damage. But if you pump this damage up, you could knock it down to where he has he'd have to spend his 4-point stress box and his 2-point stress box to take the 6, and he'd only have the 3-point stress box left, which everybody together with Maple and or you again on your turnaround would be able to take him out. However, like you said, if you didn't spend that, he's still going to get a turn. He's going to get a turn on you either way. It's just
yeah, let's just kill him before he does.
Yeah, kill him quickly.
You
Yeah.
think, and if he's
This
not
is
dead,
not
I'll
someone's
finish him
farm
off.
animal. I'm okay with it dying.
Yeah, the floor can keep poking at him. Maybe eat him.
What's your fate points looking like right now?
Me, I only have one point left.
You have one fate point left.
Yep.
Okay. Want to drop that fate point off? I can say you can, like, knock him out entirely, because that would be the overhead.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So I don't know precisely what it looks like to have her.
All
just-
it is just Zoe jumping on the table and then jumping on top of this creature, sticking 2 blades in, and just like hanging on for dear life to this beast.
Rodeo.
Yep. And she's just laughing.
So you stab into the side of his neck with your
Stilettos.
stilettos or whatever, and he's writhing back and forth like a bull, essentially. And because you are consistent to hold on, you keep the pressure. Eventually, you just unintentionally saw your way into his throat,
Ugh.
and he appears to fall, and you are now on top of it as he falls to the ground. Cue Final Fantasy fanfare, I guess.
Ba 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 ba. Oh wait, wrong game.
Ta-da.
Yeah, that.
Dun dun
Um,
dun dun dun. Wait, that's entirely wrong.
That was the Pokemon Heal music. Pokecenter healing tune.
Yes, I think she knows that. That was the point. So yeah, he is defeated, or at the very least knocked out.
I was going to be dead in a second.
Mhm.
So she's like sitting there, it's just like wide-eyed with this grin, just like cackling like manically.
Felix, who had kind of a second ago been saying, we gotta put it in a gemstone, is just kind of going,
Nope.
that works too.
Put it in the gemstone that is death.
Mhm. All right. So, surprising-
Andrea says, it's in a bubble now.
Did Zoe get off of him before he was in the bubble, or are they in the bubble together now?
No, she was like just like daggers like stilettos still in. I'm just like wide-eyed giggling manically.
I'm assuming
I mean,
we
both-
gently remove Zoe from the demon before bubbling the demon.
If you didn't, then both the violet people are in the bubble with the demon.
I mean, this isn't the worst thing in the world. But
It's just like as the bubble like goes up, it just like Zoe like looks up and be like,
they could
huh?
clearly handle themselves.
It's like, oh, why am I in a bubble?
We are bubble buddies.
High five.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Alright. So what is Maple wanting to do with your? In a second, what are you going to try to do? Eat him?
I'm going to tear his throat out.
Well, I just told
Well-
him enjoy. Just like go ahead, start eating.
I'm not
Zoe
sure we want
kinda already
Maple
did that
to eat the
partially.
demon, then Maple will be eviler.
It's too late.
All right. So, playing off the aspect of this particular story element, the camera sort of fades from that climax of craziness, and we get a moment where the bubble that was holding Ava, and we'll say for dramatic effect it was a bubble that wasn't translucent, It was sort of clouded. And it releases Ava, and for some reason, the magic that had pushed to summon this creature from inside the gemstone basically shifted the unintentionally was permanent transform magic that had turned Ava into a dwarf. So Ava is now a gnome, like she should be.
Oh, neat.
Eh.
We fixed it. We
Um,
didn't mean to, but we fixed it.
And
So it's just sitting
So-
here watching the flooring eat. Just like, oh, okay.
yeah, Zoe doesn't see all this
That's
because
how
she's
this works.
excited with Maple. And so we get this moment of the three gnomes, Maple, Ava, and or Merrick, Ava, and Mince, and we get this sort of touching moment, though it's not articulated audio-wise because I don't want to have a conversation with myself. And the three are seemingly a family again, as best as can be told for this sort of tying up loose ends story. Those who are looking towards the kame, which would probably be Felix, the Bloodstone rune that is on all of the kame, at least this couple that Felix is looking at the moment that this happens, the Bloodstone rune just fade away.
Nice.
And it appears that, like you said, Felix, you fixed it. You didn't mean to, but you fixed it.
Yay! Felix just looks very relieved. He fully expected to die.
I've just like, I like to sit there and think like Zoe would sit there and say to the family, okay, now you guys play nice, or we're gonna feed you to the porn.
Now you
Okay.
guys play nice, or that's gonna happen, and just points at the bubble.
No, it's just like we're in
Puts
the
it
bubble and
together.
stuff, and I'm like trying to like clear away to see through all the blood and just be like, behave, or you get this. Just like pointing
It's
at the
just-
floor.
It's like when the window's all like just covered in fog, and you just rub a hand on it to clear it.
All right. So you once.
There's a hand in the bubble that's
There's
acting
a
as
hand in the
windshield.
bubble. There's a windshield wiper.
Gotcha. So yes. So it fades off of that. Demon's been dealt with. The bubbles and hands that were in part to that story are all gone. The scene sort of shifts to the aftermath of sorts, and you guys are now heading back out of the village. The kame appear to have presented a actual kame chief or leader to replace Ava. The castle is actually, at least as far as you guys can tell as you leave, the castle is sort of abandoned because the kame's tribal people prefer a much simpler living than something extravagant as that. The chief, or at least the part of the family of the chief, is actually the maid, oddly enough.
Oh, nice.
And you guys progressed to leave from the village back towards the portal that Felix marked way back when.
Oh yeah, I did. I totally marked it.
Yes, you did.
I was thinking ahead.
Or I recall that you did something to help indicate to you where it was.
I think I like made a mark in the dirt or put stones there or something.
Mm-hmm. And now, instead of escorting Merrick, you're now escorting Merrick's family, which is all of them.
Yes.
Um,
So still there with like dried blood.
Mhm.
She's like,
And you progress, and you make your way out of the Whispering Woods. No problems really whatsoever. And you get to the bordering town of Asalia, or to the border of the town of Asalia after you've left the woods. And there is a moment where I'm not even going to have you roll for it because this is out in the open during the day, so he's not hiding, even though he's usually good at it. There's a humanoid figure in black that passes by the group, and he sort of, without meaning to, because he's in a rush to leave, he bumps into Zoe as he passes by. And there is a moment when she would probably, as she typically does, she would react to try to like grab or attack him, I'm assuming.
just like grab.
Yep.
Just, like,
He's too fast
grab.
though.
No, it's either like grab or her like armor goes off.
Yeah. He seems to know exactly how to hit that armor to where that doesn't really fly. And we end the session, I suppose, on the group making it to Asalia with Merrick's family. And as the guy bumps into Zoe, there's a of a envelope that falls out of the guy's pocket next to her. And on this envelope is a seal that Zoe knows.
Oh. I'm going to pick it up. What does it say?
Nothing of dire importance, aside from a mission dedicated specifically to her.
She's gonna look around to see where's the. She like looks around trying to find a rose, a white rose.
It takes you a moment, but you do eventually find one. It's sort of somewhat. It's actually somewhat hidden in the grass, the higher grass that's outside the town, but it's there.
Oh man, so being recruited
What
by a
does it?
shadowy organization.
What does it? Yes. She's picking up the rose. What does the card say?
The card or the message indicates that she
like
has
that they're like all walking away, just like they're walking away, and just like Zoe just like runs off.
Yep.
Not even sneaking, she just runs off.
Yep. She runs off, goes into the grass, picks up the flower, the rose, out of the grass as she runs by, and then poof, and she's gone. And that's where we end.
I'm glad Zoe's happy.
No, because she just got a mission to kill someone to get accepted into another guild.
I am slightly trepidatious about Zoe being happy.
Yep.
Zoe's always
And-
happy.
There will have been a moment where Felix will have said to Zoe and Maple, this was an interesting learning experience. I'm indebted to you both. Thank you for keeping us all safe. That said, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, I hope we never work together again.
Maple
Yeah,
just gives you the biggest smile, which is, shows all
He
of
points
her
at
razor
Tora.
sharp teeth.
He points at Tora. You're okay.
She also gives you a
was-
hug.
A hand pats Felix.
I was sort of imagining, that's the ending scene, and it fades and it goes to like the credits or whatever, and then we get this like
Normally, it's associated in most movies to be like the sequel bait.
But what's the
But
name on the card? That would have been worked so much better as a cliffhanger.
the name's not important. It's that Zoe knows what it is.
Oh. Okay.
If we do this again, or you play Zoe again in another Fate game, I'll give you a name because it'll be a progression of her story.
Yes.
But that's but as it is, it ends credits, and then we get an after credits scene that's normally sequel bait. That is that scene with Felix speaking to Maple and Zoe. This is on their journey before Zoe left. It kind of goes back in time.
This is like the shawarma scene, except just kind of like, no, we are not becoming the Avengers.
And there's like the credits. There's just like hands floating around.
Yeah, during the credits there are hand shenanigans, says Andrea. Yeah. The hands are kind of pushing the credits out the way, pulling the credits into view.
The hands are carrying the credits.
Yes, of course.
Do the hands wave goodbye at the end of the credits? A
random bubble comes by with the florin in it.
Okay. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Thank you very much for running that, Dallred.
Yep. I hope everyone had fun with that, as train wrecky as it was.
It's always a train wreck. Always a train wreck when role players are involved.
I'm not saying that Maple would be very creepy when Felix gives her appreciation, but she just gives a big smile, hugs him, and then just sort of, not really whispers, but says in her normal sort of quiet, almost creepy foreign tone, just like, Maple hopes that she will hunt with you again soon.
Felix looks fucking terrified. Okay, shall I go ahead and stop the stream?
Yeah, you can do so if you wish.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Take care, and good night.